Hey friends, Matt here with Peppercoat Barbecue and welcome back to the Peppercoat Deck. There are two things in life that everybody loves, smoked chicken and crispy skinned chicken. But you know it's a challenge to get both of these together. Today I'm going to explore 8 different methods to try to get crispy skin on smoked chicken. For this test, I'll be using my Old Country Barbecue Pits G3. I got a fire lit, but let's get in the house and I'll show you how I'm prepping the chicken. I actually started this little project last night and I have 4 quarters that are brined, a dry salt brine overnight, and 4 that are not. All of them, all 8 pieces were left in the fridge in the open overnight to help dry out that skin. And you can see these over here on the left-hand side. You're right, now you're left. These on the left-hand side, you can see the skin's a little more opaque. You can see the moisture starting to draw out of them. These over here on the right that did not have the salt brine, they do look nice and dry, which should help, but you can tell that that skin still looks a lot thicker and a lot more of a white color. For this test today, I'm gonna be using Uncle Dave's barbecue seasoning. This is great seasoning. If you haven't tried it, give it a try. There's a link in the description. Use Peppercoat 20% to get 20% off, but I'm gonna use that as my base for all of these. I'm gonna have 1 piece each brined and unbrined with nothing but the barbecue seasoning, and that's kind of gonna be our control. I'm gonna have a piece brined and unbrined that I'll be adding in some baking powder. I'll have a piece of each that I'm adding in some cornstarch. And then I'm also going to have 1 piece of each that I will be spraying with Pam. Now, I have tried Pam before on wings and did not get a great result out of it. But a lot of people swear by it and say you need that oil to help crisp up the skin. So we'll give it a shot and we'll see. I have a very complex numbering system. I'll be using toothpicks to keep track of these, and I have a legend here so I'll know which is which. Here we are all seasoned up with our porcupine chickens. You can see the toothpick sticking out of them. This one over here, if it has the large toothpick in it, that means that it was brine. These over here do not have that. This is our control back here with no small toothpick, only brine, no brine, just seasoning. Then we have the baking powder here and here with 2 toothpicks, or I'm sorry, 1 toothpick in them. We have the cornstarch with 2 toothpicks, and then the Pam has 3 toothpicks in each of those. And learn from my mistakes. I will tell you, I put the baking powder and the cornstarch on here first. Once that goes on there, it immediately made that skin very dry, and the rub does not want to stick to it. So probably better just to mix a little bit of it with the rub. Everybody knows the one true key to getting that crispy skin on chicken is heat. So I'm not smoking at a low temperature today. I'm gonna try to keep this between 300 and 325. Right now we're at 329, so of course it'll cool down a little bit when I put the chicken on, but we're gonna get it loaded up, and I'm just gonna let this go until it reaches 185. I have put a probe in 2 of the larger pieces. I think both of those are the ones that have Pam on them. I realize the smaller pieces are probably going to be past done, but the test for today is just about rendering out that skin. So when those hit 185, we'll pull them off. So the chicken's crossing that 185 mark. The G3 has done an excellent job today of holding that temperature right where we wanted it, between 300 and 325. I've got my S1 over here. I'll show you this graph. Great way to track your cooks and, you know, get you away from the smoker for a little bit and you can still watch it. But I got to admit, before I open this, I've not opened the smoker. It's been on for about an hour and 35 or 40 minutes now, I think. I've not seen this chicken. I'm going to be as surprised as you are. And up to this point in my life, I have never had crispy skin on smoked chicken. I'm Matt, and I'm here today to admit that I've never had crispy skin on smoked chicken. I mean, yeah, of course. I've tried lots of things. Everybody wants that crispy skin and that smoked chicken, and it is so hard to achieve. I've smoked at lower temperatures and moved over to the firebox, and it gives me a nice rendered skin, but it's still not crispy. Maybe it's just unachievable. Yeah, that took a really weird turn. So let's check out the chicken. In this front row, we're all salt brined. The one in the back, we're not. These were our controls. These are the two Pam pieces. These were those with the baking powder and then cornstarch here on the end. I'm going to pull these off, take them in the house, just leave them on the counter to rest for 15 minutes or so, and then we'll check them out. Our brine pieces are in the top row, unbrined on the bottom, and you can see there's not a lot of color difference between the two. The one down here on the bottom row, our control, is the only one that you can see there's some splitting there on the skin. Not the only one, but it has some splitting on the skin. This one doesn't, but it feels a little crunchier. And both of our Pam pieces here feel very similar, but you can see that the brined Pam piece is the only one that has any pullback of the skin. And then over here, these other two pieces, you can see that they are much lighter than these first four. Now, this is the baking powder and the cornstarch here on the end, and you can definitely see a color difference. They are a little browner around the edges, but we're really not going to know until I give them a try. And just like that, I've taken a bite out of all 8 pieces, and I am ready to give you my analysis on them. All right, you can have yours. Sit. Good girl. So I realized during editing that I had some audio issues, and it's been a couple of days now, but I wanted to share with you my thoughts on these 8 pieces of chicken. And again, remember, this is just about smoking, not adding any other method, not bumping up the heat at the end, searing, or any of that. So with that being said, I had 4 pieces that were tied in bottom place. If it had baking powder or cornstarch on it, I did not prefer that method. I thought the cornstarch was very tough. In fact, the piece with no salt brine and the cornstarch, that was the toughest piece of chicken skin that I've ever had in my life. The one with baking powder was slightly less tough, but I feel like the baking powder gave it an off-putting flavor. Again, had those been seared off at the end or the heat bumped up, it may have crisped up and been beautiful and nice and wonderful. But just trying to smoke it, even at these higher smoking temperatures of 3 to 325, I didn't get a good result. These are my cheat notes here that I made. So moving on to the top 4, that would have been the control and then the one with the Pam on it. As far as the salt brine versus the unbrined, there's really not that much difference, honestly. Not nearly the difference that I thought there would have been. If you have time to salt brine, then do it. If you don't, then I really wouldn't worry about it. I think between the two, the Pam did render out a little better. Still was not a crispy bite, but you can see the skin was rendered well. It tore away well. The only thing that I found with the Pam was that the seasoning kind of flaked off of it pretty easily. And I was really surprised that Pam come out on top in this little test, because as I said in the beginning, I had used Pam before on a drum smoker, and even at a higher temperature, I just wound up with a greasy wing, but these were really good. So I took the knowledge that I got from this test. The very next day, I made some chicken wings on my pellet grill. I brined them, I shot them with Pam, I put them on low and slow, then I brought them up to 400. It gets kind of that air fryer effect, that pellet grill, it's kind of like a smoky air fryer, and it turned out a really good wing. And I will post that video next week. If it's already been posted, you'll see it right up here. If not, you'll find something else that YouTube knows you'll love. And either way, whatever you watch, get outside, grill something, have fun, and I'll see you here next time on Peppercoat Barbecue.